Hey guys, what's up? It's munclesonkey. Today I'm going to be checking out the new amulet that is in the game, or the new amulets I should say, because they can be added onto various types of amulets, and I'll go over that. But what you have to do is you have to go to the GE and buy a blood necklace shard to get this new amulet, or you can get one as a drop from an Edemu, which is one of the two new Slayer creatures, and hopefully I'll have a guide on that coming out in a couple days. Mine bought for 13 mil, and you might think that's very expensive. However, I will be making a case in this video that 13 mil is very justified, and that this amulet is going to be the best amulet in class, depending on which amulet you can use it on. You can use it on Amulet of Fury, or you can use it on any of the 3 top-tier Dungeoneering amulets that you can buy from the DG Rewards Trader by buying an amulet add-on from him and then attaching that to one of the Saradomin amulets, and this will create the best amulets in class for damage other than the Amulet of Souls previously, and this is going to have the same damage as those, but an added on special effect, which we will go over. So the Blood Amulet of Fury, which is the one that I got because it's all around, of course, if you were worried about the absolute best damage possible, you would want to get all 3 of those DG amulets and 3 of the Blood Amulet things and attach them to all 3, and maybe when it goes down in price in the future that will be an option, but they're kind of expensive right now. So let's go over the stats and what exactly this thing does. First of all, you need 80 crafting to be able to make this thing, so make sure you have that level before you try making one. I went ahead and went with the Blood Amulet of Fury, which as you can see has 12 lower in the bonus versus the Dungeoneering Blood Amulets. However, I don't feel like this is as big of an issue, and I will go over this in just a second why it's not big of an issue. It also has +3 prayer bonus, and the DG necklaces do not have that, but that's whatever. So the special effect that the blood necklaces have is they do 420 to 680 damage. It is random. It's going to be somewhere in that range once every 8 to 15 seconds, healing that amount of all monsters that are targeting you. It's not going to hit all the monsters every time. It typically only hits 1 monster. I've had a few instances where it's hit 2, so it's kind of rare for it to hit multiple targets, but it can do that. And when it does that, it will compound the healing that it hits those monsters, and you'll do them extra damage as well, so you'll get extra healing. However, don't really count on that for the most part. We're going to go into a worst case scenario comparing this to the Amulet of Souls, which is the only other amulet in the game that really boosts your healing and gives very good stats. And this is where I will be making a case for the blood amulets. The final thing that I have to say about the blood necklaces before we compare them to the Amulet of Souls is they are much cheaper to repair than the Amulet of Souls as well. They have the same thing of once you make this necklace, there's no going back. It becomes untradeable as soon as you attach it to the Fury. However, I expect since Edemus are a Slayer creature, the blood shard is going to drop a lot in price pretty soon. So if you wait a week or 2, you can probably pick one up for really cheap. Furies are not that expensive, and then you can just go ahead and attach that, and you'll receive, quite a bit of benefits. And it's very cheap to recharge. You can repair it with blood runes, or you can repair it in your player-owned house as well, which will additionally reduce the cost of blood runes, but it's 5k for every 1%. So if you want to repair a fully degraded amulet, it's going to cost you 500k, or however much the blood runes cost. Obviously, the GE prices will depend on how much that's going to be. So now we go into the Amulet of Souls comparison versus the Blood Fury, and I did do a breakdown on the Amulet of Souls and kind of talking about whether it's worth it or not. I really don't feel like it is anymore after this new necklace came out, but if you want to see that, go ahead and just click on the Amulet of Souls that you see on screen, and it will take you to that video. So the cool thing about the Amulet of Souls is it does buff your soul split, so your soul split heals more. However, it's not a huge difference, and we'll find out in just a second here whether the healing that you get from the Blood Fury or the Blood Dungeoneering necklaces is comparable to the Amulet of Souls. But as it pertains to stats, the Amulet of Souls has +14 more than the Blood Fury, or +2 more than the Blood Dungeoneering necklaces. However, the Blood necklaces do that 420 to 680 damage, which is really going to help in the long run. Just thinking worst case scenario, if you get unlucky every time it takes the full 15 seconds, which is the max, and you heal 420 damage, which is the least, you're still doing an extra 420 damage every 15 seconds. And how the strength bonuses work is they add 1.5 extra damage onto every single hit per bonus that you have in strength, magic, or range. So if you were to use an Amulet of Souls during that 15 seconds where it takes the blood necklace to do that 420 damage, you would get off 7.5 abilities because you use an ability every 2 seconds. And since it has +14 more bonus in the Blood Fury, that is 14 times 1.5, which is the extra damage that you're getting per ability, times 7.5, which is the amount of abilities, and you're only getting 156 extra damage from the Amulet of Souls in that time versus the 420 that the blood necklace is dealing. So I'm sorry if that was a little bit complicated, but in the long run, the Blood Necklace is doing more damage than the Amulet of Souls and is adding extra onto your damage, even though it's not added onto your ability damage. It's just a passive healing effect that also happens to do damage, but this is going to benefit you more in terms of DPS, and obviously if you have the Blood Dungeoneering necklaces that have very similar stats to the Blood Amulet of Souls, it's going to blow the Amulet of Souls in terms of DPS right out of the water. And this is going to be extremely helpful in a one-on-one environment. However, if you are in an area with a whole ton of monsters around, it's not going to increase your damage that much because it's random what monster or monsters it hits. So if you're somewhere like Araxor during minion phase, the Blood Amulet might not be doing that damage to Araxor. So that's the only problematic part about it. So the first thing I wanted to try out with the Blood Fury, and this test is going to look really stupid, and it probably was, but what I wanted to do was attack a whole bunch of monsters that are doing quite a bit of damage, and seeing if the Blood Necklace could prolong my lifespan for a significant amount. And I'm just going to go ahead and say this right now. It didn't. I got a whole bunch of Dark Beasts attacking me, and I wanted to see how long it was before I died, and if the Blood Necklace would make a huge, significant difference between the time that it took me to die, if it was going to heal me a lot. And it turns out this isn't the case, and this might initially sound like, well, if you can barely even notice a difference if you're taking a lot of damage with the Blood Necklace sustaining your life, then what really is the point of the Blood Necklace? But the cool thing about the Blood Necklace is it is very handy in areas where you're just not quite getting enough healing. Solo Saradomin was one thought of mine. Additionally, many other God Wars dungeon bosses, if you don't have the best stats or weapons, or you don't have certain things unlocked like Soul Split, the Blood Necklace can really prolong your life at bosses like that, and it can be extremely useful. And the next thing I did with the Blood Necklace is I took it to Saradomin, and again, I am comparing it against the Amulet of Souls here, and you might be wondering, why do you keep comparing it against the Amulet of Souls? I thought this was a review, not a comparison video. But the reason why I wanted to compare it against the Amulet of Souls is because the Blood Necklace, like I said in the last clip, it's only going to be useful if you are doing those bosses where you're just barely not quite able to survive or need that little bit of push of extra healing to get you sustained longer. It's not going to get you out of situations where you're taking a ton of damage and you're just getting KO'd. It's not going to really save your life there. So the only other necklace that does this is the Amulet of Souls, and the Amulet of Souls is a lot more expensive and supposedly has the best stats in the game, so it's going to be the best amulet, but that might not necessarily be the case. So I wanted to try it out, and I did know for a fact with my previous test of the Amulet of Souls that the Amulet of Souls can make solo Saradomin no food a reality with really just the Vampirism Scrimshaw and the Amulet of Souls, and I wanted to see if the Blood Necklace could do that same thing, and if it could, then there's really no reason to ever have an Amulet of Souls, right? With the Amulet of Souls, I was able to successfully no-food Saradomin kill really easily with both the Vampirism Aura and Scrimshaw active, and then when I took the Scrimshaw off, I was also able to no-food Saradomin kills, and I did about 6 Berserk kills without the Scrimshaw active, didn't have to use any food. However, my health did drop a little bit low a couple times, and it got to be a little bit hairy, but I did soul split it back off of the minions. So I wanted to see if the Blood Necklace could do the exact same thing. Could it have the exact same effect as the Amulet of Souls? And that would kind of prove once and for all that this is really the necklace that you want to go to, and your go-to best-in-class necklace. Obviously, you would be wearing the Dungeoneering one for the best-in-class of all the game. However, if you're a cheapskate like me, you can just go with the Fury, and you're not losing out a whole lot in terms of damage. And I found out that the Blood Necklace really performed admirably. It did very good on the Saradomin, and I have to say, it even did more comfortably than the Amulet of Souls did in the solo kills, and I was able to get away with, on average, a lot more health per kill with the Blood Necklace. And this was surprising because it doesn't go off that often. It only went off about 2 or 3 times per kill, and it rarely multi-targeted enemies, but maybe this just goes to show how much the Amulet of Souls really doesn't affect you all that much. And that little bit of extra healing, it's kind of akin to having a free monkfish or shark eaten per kill with the Blood Necklace, which can really help out if you were just barely to the point where you could do something with no food. So the main point I've been trying to illustrate during this video in a very rambling, roundabout sort of way is that the Blood Necklace is a very good necklace. It's great for people that already have all their PVM gear set up, your Tetsu, your Torva, your Overloads, your Extremes, your Drygors, your Yak, all that stuff you want to get before you get the Blood Necklace. And maybe in the future it'll drop in price to the point where this price point won't really matter anymore. However, as things currently stand, feel free to pick one up if you're just looking for that little bit of extra boost in damage and healing while doing PvM, and it's very, very good. I would highly recommend the necklace if you are someone like that, but it's not really a must buy either. You're going to be completely fine if you don't use one. Hopefully I made a pretty good case for the blood necklace. I tried my best to sell it as best as I could, and thank you guys for watching. Feel free to discuss what you think of this necklace down in the comments, whether you think it's the go-to one or whether you like the Amulet of Souls better and why. I will see you guys tomorrow with the next video. Farewell.